Good evening. Tonight, something a little different. This story wasn't written in 1951. It wasn't pulled from a filing cabinet or a publisher's collection. It was written by someone who played a video game, fell in love with the characters, and decided the story wasn't finished yet. The name is InsurrectionAlpha. The story is called Shards of the Past. It's a Star Fox story. Specifically, it picks up right where Star Fox Assault ends, when the Aparoid home world has just been destroyed and Fox and his team are stranded in a debris field with no way home. What happens next is Insurrection Alpha's answer to that question. It involves a man named Marcus Tokarev, a ship called the Striker, a Ferengi trading post, a Riemann contact in trouble, and a mystery that will eventually lead back to Lilat and something called the Phantom Katana Fleet. This is episode 1 of what will be a multi-part reading. All worlds belong to Insurrection Alpha. I'm just the one reading. And, just a heads up, I'm bound to butcher the hell out of all of these, so my apologies if I do. Welcome to SL Tonight Presents All Worlds. Fox wasn't expecting this when he came out here. The moment that Aparoid showed up on Fortuna, it set in motion a chain of events that left Fox and his friends where they presently were. Fortuna, Katina, Sargasso, Pachina, the incident with Pigma in the asteroid belt, the assault on Saria and Coronia, and then the attack on the Aparoid homeworld. It all nearly overwhelmed Fox. It took all he had to remain strong through all of it. Now, he, Peppy, Falco, Slippy, and Krystal were all stranded here, in the debris field of what was once the Aparoid homeworld. Fox had to admit, when they executed the program to eliminate the Aparoids, sure, he expected them to go up in flames, but not like this. Everything was destroyed. The explosion should have taken them with it, but somehow it didn't. Even Slippy couldn't explain how. Wolf and his team were out here too, somewhere. Krystal was having a hard time finding them, though. Poor girl, Fox thought. This war would have taken a bigger toll on her. But the situation was grim. They were in some god's-forsaken, unexplored end of the galaxy, sitting among a field of mixed debris. They had no way of recreating the gate that brought them here, no way to contact Cornea and report. Great Fox had been reduced to just the command pod. They had no FTL drives to speak of, and had no way to get back to Corneria, even if they could figure out which damn direction to go in. Making matters worse, Slippy kept getting what he called ghost blips on his radar, and it had Fox concerned they weren't alone in the field. "Scan the field again, Slippy," Fox calmly commanded, as calm as he could be at this point. "I've already scanned it a dozen times," Slippy shot back. "I've recalibrated the sensors, filtered out ambient noise, compensated for the residual Aparoid signatures from his field, and extended the range well beyond programmed parameters, and I still got nothing." "Slippy, there has to be something here," Fox growled. "There has to be. Derelict ship, parts, something. We have only limited supplies in our R-Wings. Great Fox is gone, and we have no way to get back to or even contact Corneria. Scan the field again." "Easy, Fox," Peppy cautioned the Vulpine. "It's not his fault we're in this situation." Fox heaved a sigh. Peppy was right. This war had left him agitated, it seemed. Even he was surprised by his frayed temper. It all must have gotten to him more than he realized. It was then that he realized Krystal had been silent for a long time. "Krystal, can you still sense Wolf and his team?" he asked. "Yes," Krystal replied faintly. "They're faint, but there. I just can't ascertain where. Wonder if Wolf is doing the same thing we are," Falco mused. "He'd be a fool not to," Slippy remarked. "I'm still not—" Slippy stopped mid-sentence unexpectedly. "Slippy?" Fox spoke. "What is it?" Slippy said the 3 words that no one thought him capable of. "I don't know." "What do you mean you don't know?" Falco grumbled, clearly agitated. "It was a blip on the radar, but this one stayed longer than the others. I detected it. It looked like some kind of ship, but it wasn't one I recognized," Slippy reported. "Fox," Krystal piped up, her voice betraying definite concern. "I can't sense Wolf anymore." "Could it be," Fox wondered, Ghost blips on the radar. Wolf's team vanishes, the Slippy picking up an unidentified ship on the radar. Fox realized then they weren't alone in this debris field. The interloper Slippy had been tracking wasn't really an interloper at all. His ship had been near the area when it picked up the explosion. The shockwave alone was enough to drop the ship out of transport. Her captain decided to investigate the area, see if there were any survivors. When he arrived, he found a massive debris field, the remains of a planet, but strangely the planet wasn't on any star chart he had. Complicating matters, the debris field had a very high metal content, so sensor readings were somewhat unreliable. He was just about to give up when he came across 3 fighter craft. They were damaged and immobile, but their occupants were alive. He transported the craft to his shuttle bay and the occupants to sick bay. They were identified as Wolf O'Donnell, Leon Pawlowski, and Panther Caruso. Wolf identified 5 others that were allegedly in the debris field with them: Fox McCloud, Pappy Hare, Falco Lombardi, Slippy Toad, and Krystal. It was that last name that gave the captain pause. He hadn't heard that name in years, ever since Serenia burned. Did she still hate him? Did she even have any idea he was alive? The last time they saw each other, he'd given her his only emergency translocator to get her off-world. The look she gave him when he was willing to sacrifice his only way off-world for her, the girl he once bullied, made him wonder if she'd ever forgive him for that. He never knew what happened to her after that. He did actually manage to get off-world, if only barely. He did get his best to put some distance between them, let her go her way. Even after his sacrifice, he didn't expect her to ever want to see him again. Not after all he'd done to her. And now, here they were again, in that same position, with her needing help, and him being the only one who could provide it. Whether or not she'd trust him at this point was irrelevant. After searching, the captain had located the vessels, 4 fighter craft and a command pod. The command pod would be impossible to bring aboard, but the fighters could land in the shuttle bay. There should be enough room there. The comm line was active, and sensors were picking up a lot of chatter. The ship also detected sensor sweeps of the debris field. What are you looking for? The captain thought. Were they looking for him? He had to decloak long enough to beam Wolf and his team aboard. Given the report Wolf gave, the captain couldn't rule out the possibility they were looking for something that would get them home. According to scans, none of the craft had any FTL drive to speak of, giving credence to the possibility they were looking for a way home. Ready or not, it was time, the captain thought. Comms, open a channel, all frequencies, he commanded. The sudden disappearance of Wolf and his team was a definite cause for concern. Falco immediately thought they found a way home and left them there. Peppy wasn't so sure. Fox, however, was concerned for Krystal. She'd been through enough, and the possibility of her being a prisoner to whoever abducted Wolf called Fox to his core. It all was put to rest much sooner than Fox would have liked. Fox, we're being hailed, Slippy reported. By whom? Fox asked. Just listen, Slippy requested, routing the hail to the others. Can hear me on this channel. Please acknowledge this transmission. Repeat, this is IKS Striker to the Star Fox team. If you can hear me on this channel, please acknowledge this transmission, the hail said. The voice sounded definitely masculine, gruff, and somewhat scratchy, deep, and in some ways intimidating. That voice, Krystal gasped quietly, her tone implying familiarity. It can't be. Do you know this man, Krystal? Peppy asked. I cannot be certain, Krystal responded. There'd be time for reunions later. Fox took the initiative to answer the hail. IKS Striker, this is Fox McCloud of the Star Fox team. We hear you. There was an uncomfortable pause before the voice again responded. I understand there was an incident with Aparoids in the area, so I won't ask your report on that. Your Star Wolf colleagues explained that bit to us. But I'm offering you a way out of here. I understand you need to get back to Corneria? That's right, Fox affirmed. We presently have no way to get there. I hate to impose, but I'd be happy to ferry you there once I know where it is your colleagues weren't able to provide us with exact coordinates, the man said. We can provide them, Peppy offered. This pod's computers still have them. Possibly, but there's a problem with your command pod. It won't fit on board my ship. Fighters would, but there isn't enough room in the shuttle bay or the cargo bay for the command pod, the voice told him. That won't be an issue, Captain. Peppy stated. I'll download the computer archives and set the pod to self-destruct. Peppy! Fox protested. Fox, this pod isn't getting us anywhere. And it has nothing that will protect it. The archives will be downloaded, then I'll wipe the computer core and self-destruct, Peppy snapped at him. After a brief pause, Peppy added, We'll have another great Fox. Count on it. But right now, we need to be thinking on getting home to build another great Fox. Fox again heaved a sigh. Fine, he growled. He didn't like the idea of destroying the last vestige of his father's ship, but at this point he was willing to say that the ship was sacrificed in the Aparoid threat. There was a tense pause as Peppy downloaded the contents of the ship's computer before Peppy spoke again. I have the archives, he reported. Stand by, the voice said. In an aside evidently directed at his crew, he spoke. Kawuyul Chol Hai? The hell? Falco commented. What language is... He was cut short when out of the blue, a massive, compared to their R-wings, vaguely bird-shaped vessel shimmered into appearance, seemingly from nothing. It had wings that were currently situated almost horizontally from the pod-like fuselage, with clear weapons mounted on the wingtips, and at points just shy of the fuselage. The fuselage was covered in several turrets, and it had a short neck that led to a head-shaped section, where embedded in the very front, almost like an open mouth, was a yellow-red glowing space Fox assumed was some kind of torpedo bay. The hull had shades of red and steel black, and looked something out of a movie. All of this led Fox to believe this was a mercenary or military vessel. Mr. Peppy, stand by for transport. The rest of you, I'm transmitting approach vectors for the shuttle bay and the aft. Follow them. Land in the shuttle bay. I will send a security team to escort you to the bridge. Do so quickly. I would like very much to cloak again soon. Understood. Let's get out of here, team, Fox said officiously. As the team headed for the shuttle bay of this vessel, he couldn't help but think of Krystal. Her tone implied she recognized this man's voice. And now he had them at a sizable disadvantage. He had the only way, Fox knew of, home to Corneria, and if he and Krystal really knew each other, whether or not they could actually get home, depended largely on how the two received each other. But with no other viable options, Fox was forced to put his trust in whatever relationship Krystal had had with this mystery man and pray it was a fond one. Krystal was overwhelmed with apprehension. The voice from the hail, she knew that voice well, a voice she hadn't heard since the day Serenia burned. How could it be? How could he be alive? He had sacrificed his way off-world, given it to her. He had no other way out, but yet she heard his voice today, so he had to find some way off Serenia. Flying to the shuttle bay of the ship that had decloaked before them was a blur. Krystal was so emotionally shocked to hear that man's voice again. She remembered him well. A spoiled bully who tormented her for years when they were children, but over time, he changed. Krystal didn't trust him back then. She was suspicious of the way he felt after years of his abuse. Then the aliens came, looking for bodies and resources. The Serenians didn't know who they were, they didn't know where they came from, but they did know was that they were desperate, and they'd been on run for a long, long time. They bombed Serenia from orbit with weapons Serenia had never seen before. Krystal's people were able to flee, but Krystal and this man were trapped. He had a way off, and she didn't. But rather than save himself, as she expected him to, he chose to save her. And from that moment on, her entire perception of the man changed. She began to feel he wasn't as terrible as he was when they were children. She felt regret at the fact she hadn't believed him when he tried to change for her sake. She felt guilt at how she had been so suspicious of him when he was just trying to make amends. And now she was apprehensive because she feared she was about to come face to face with the man she thought had died getting her off Serenia. What would he look like all these years later? Would his personality be the same? Would he be happy to see her? Angry? Sad? She didn't know. So many years had passed since she and this man had last seen each other, and she had thought he was dead. What would she say to him? The shuttle bay's doors had closed completely by the time Krystal had gotten out of her landed R-wing. The team waited for the security escort, and Fox approached Krystal. Krystal, he said, what's wrong? You look like you've just seen a ghost. Perhaps I have, Fox, Krystal replied almost at a whisper. Perhaps I have. Do you know this person? Fox asked. I can't be certain, Krystal repeated. But he does seem familiar, Fox pressed. His voice reminds me of someone I knew in my youth, Krystal relented. Why, Krystal, I didn't know you had one, Fox said, his voice clearly hinting sarcasm. Fox shot him a warning glance. Krystal paused for a moment to think. There was no need for Fox to know everything, but being a part of his team for all this time, he did deserve to know at least a part of it. I don't often think of the past. In my youth, I knew a tiger on my homeworld, intelligent. Well, wise well beyond his years. Sometimes was arrogant, but he was still a good person, in the end. How so? Fox queried. When Serenia burned, he and I were trapped planetside. He had a way off-world to the orbiting ships, but the device would only have teleported one of us. Rather than save himself and his admittedly brilliant mind, he gave it to me. He sacrificed himself so I could get off-world, Krystal explained. How he managed to get off-world himself, I do not know. Sounds like quite a gentleman, Fox commented after hesitating a few moments. The herd of clanking metal boots could be heard nearby, and the team turned to find strange skeletal machines approaching. Captain Tokarev has ordered us to escort you to the bridge. Please follow us. One of them spoke. Krystal was the first to follow and step behind them, and the others followed suit. They navigated the bowels of the ship, during which time Krystal noted a pattern to the robots that manned the ship. Blue-marked robots seemed to be the ship's crew. She saw them working the ship. The red-marked robots seemed to be shipboard security forces, like the ones escorting the team to the bridge. They and the unmarked ones with backpack-looking items seemed to be the only ones that were armed. The unmarked robots, Krystal assumed, were Marines, and every so often she could spot a lone yellow-marked robot, probably shipboard commander units. The team traversed the ship and walked one long straight corridor to what Krystal assumed was the bridge of the ship. It had a circular look to it, with blue-marked robots manning the consoles surrounding the captain's chair, which was facing away from him at the time. At the very front of the bridge was a view screen displaying the area in front of the ship. On the screen was fresh, drifting debris that had once been the command pod of Great Fox, which had been evidently destroyed prior to their arrival on the bridge. Peppy was standing facing the screen next to the captain's chair, which sat on a circular platform. Krystal could see the top of a tiger's head, black fur, white stripes. Could it really be? A shame it came to this. She went before her time, Peppy commented. I was ashamed to lose a starship, but at least you sent her out with a bang, said the tiger in the chair. Now we should get moving. Tactical? So will you? The lights on the bridge dimmed to some degree, but Krystal could still see the tiger. It was then that Peppy noticed him standing there. Captain, these are my colleagues, Peppy said, indicating the team. The captain didn't verbally respond, but his chair turned on the edge of that circular platform until he was facing it. The face Krystal saw left her speechless. The tiger, with black fur, white stripes, yellow-green eyes that seemed to glow in this dimmed light, and sharp incisors that slightly protruded below his upper lip. His body was quite muscular. He wore an outfit that looked like a scavenged mix of clothes and armor, and leaned against his chair was a rifle that Krystal hadn't noticed earlier. Seeing his visage took her back to the day she last saw him. Remembered it every night since then. The aliens were burning Serenia from orbit. She and the tiger were together in a burning building, falling apart at the seams. So this is how it ends, Krystal said in despair. You and me, the bully with his victim, dying together. How tragically ironic. I suppose I should offer you forgiveness before we go, shouldn't I? No, the tiger responded. I spent years trying to redeem myself to you, trying and failing. There's nothing I can say to you that will convince you that I am sorry. I so wanted to put the years of torment behind us, but at this point, it's moot. This doesn't end here, not for you. What are you talking about? Krystal inquired. In response, the tiger took out a strange device Krystal didn't recognize. He offered it to Krystal. This will get you to the ships in orbit, he explained. It will only transport one of us. I want you to use it. Get off world while there's short time. What about you? Krystal responded. You'll die. Yes, I will die, but I'll die getting you out of harm's way. You didn't deserve what I did to you. It was stupid, cruel, spoiled bully to you. I tormented you for years, and I can't explain why I had a change of heart. There's no describing. I tried all these years to get you to see that, but now it doesn't matter. Go while you can, Tiger urged her. Krystal looked down at the red button on top of the device, but hesitated. This would be the last time she saw the tiger, and for once she looked up at him, memorizing the details of his face. He looked longingly at her, knowing it would be the last he ever saw of her. I hope one day we can meet in the heavens and be together. I forgive you. She pressed the button by mistake, and was whisked away to the evacuating ships in orbit as she said, Mercus, she whispered. The tiger smiled, half sad, half pleased. You still remember me, he said. How could I ever forget? Krystal responded. You got me off-world as your act of atonement, but how did you get off-world yourself? My crew got the transporters up at the last second and were able to beam me up before I could be consumed in the fire, Marcus responded. If you were alive, why didn't you come find me? Phil inquired. You and I both know the sordid history we had. I didn't want to force my redemption on you any more than I already had. I did what I felt you would have wanted me to. I stayed away. I gave you space, put distance between us so you didn't have to be reminded every single day of what I did to you. What you did to me when we were children doesn't matter anymore, Marcus. Krystal told him as she stepped towards him, her voice much clearer. It's in the past. We were different people then. I forgave you the day you sacrificed yourself for me, and ever since then, I spent my life pondering what could have been had I believed you instead of being suspicious. As had I, Marcus sighed. Not a day goes by that I don't think of you. Paused to inhale. One thing I want to know right now, will you greet me as your friend or your foe? Krystal hesitated. Give you your chance. But then there was Fox. How would he take it? Sure, the two were close, but she could feel the same stirrings in him as she did in Marcus. The days ahead would undoubtedly make a difficult choice, but one thing was clear. No matter which heart she leaned to, she would still have in heart two men who did whatever they could for her, and she would see to it they both were happy. In a clearly unexpected move, she reached out to hug Marcus. You tried to be my friend before, Marcus, but I was too blind to see it. But now, as then, you stand before me, offering friendship. But unlike then, I can see it for what it is. I would greet you as my friend, and I would hope you would consider staying with us. Interspecies relationships aside, Marcus was apparently taken aback, but eventually embraced Krystal. It is truly a pleasure to see you again, Krystal. Not that I want to break up this touching reunion, but we should probably get going, Fox said hesitantly. Agreed. However, there's a slight snag in that, he said as he released Krystal. Chapter 2. Fox was utterly shocked to hear Krystal and Marcus had history. She seemed doubly shocked just seeing him. If what the two had said was any indication, she thought he was dead, which explained why she never mentioned him, until now. But the two apparently in that moment reconciled and were friends, apparently for the first time since they'd known each other. But this was all put aside when the topic of getting them home came up. Marcus mentioned there was a slight snag, and Fox couldn't say he was surprised. He was just satisfied they had a way to get home, now. So his voice was even when he spoke. What's the problem? The problem, as you put it, is that this trip is going to take weeks, Marcus said. He pulled up a star chart, one system. Fox clearly recognizes Lilac. This is Lilac, according to the data your friend Peppy gave me, Marcus said, indicating the highlighted Lilac, indicating another area some distance away that was highlighted. He continued, This is where we're at. As you can see, that's considerable distance. But you can get us home, Fox asked. Yes, but 1, we're going to be passing through some volatile territory. 2, I need to make a few stops along the way, Marcus responded. At one place is a trading post. Got to get supplied, especially now that all of you are aboard. The other is another outpost that I am meeting a contact on. The last pit stop is a safe house of mine. Okay, so what would you expect us to do? Fox queried. Keep your head on straight, try not to offend anyone en route, Marcus told him. The trading post we're going to is run by Ferengi. I forget what his name is, but he's a sleazebag. Some of his people have cut me deals in the past. The contact, however, is skittish, so I need you and yours to stay out of sight. He sees you, he's likely to bolt. Safe house, though, we're only stopping there briefly. Gotta pick something up. Alright, do you have quarters for us? Fox inquired. Indeed, since the ship is run by modified B-1 battle droids, the quarters are furnished, but vacant. Make yourselves at home. Convenient. Marcus said, mess hall's at the center of the ship. If you get hungry, just interface with the replicator. Holodeck's one deck above for entertainment. Sounds like you've converted this ship into your home away from home. Krystal commented. Had to, Marcus affirmed. All these years among the stars take a toll on man's mind. Had to do something to preserve my sanity. Well, there's nothing else for us to do but get settled in, said Fox officiously. Let's grab our gear from the R-Wings. Fox turned to leave. He couldn't help but wonder how this would turn out. He hadn't expected the man who rescued him to be someone Krystal knew. You've got some serious competition, Foxy, Falco remarked. Shut up, Fox grumbled. He didn't need to be reminded of that. He tried to keep emotional attachments out of his line of work, but he didn't want to spend his life alone. Krystal was the first female of the team, and she certainly was a beautiful vixen. In some ways, she reminded him of Farrah. It made Fox's heart ache just thinking of her. He wondered where she was after all these years. No, Fox told himself. It was too early to think of that. Krystal and Marcus only just reunited. There was no indication she would go for it. It was as he was approaching his R-Wing that he realized Krystal wasn't with him. Was she? But of course she was. She met back up with someone she hadn't seen since her home world burned. Fox satisfied his mind telling it she was just catching up with him. Had to be. When Fox and the others left to grab their gear, Krystal remained behind. Marcus couldn't say he was surprised. He probably had a million questions, and she deserved answers, especially from him. Imagine he had a lot of questions, he said. Just one, Krystal responded. He paused, then asked, where have you been all these years? Marcus heaved a heavy sigh, sitting down in his chair. I spent all these years wandering the galaxy. Admittedly, I didn't think I'd ever see you again after Serenia burned. I had thought you'd do the same thing I did, with the galaxy. Neither of us expected to see each other again, Marcus, Krystal admitted. I'd spent all these years thinking you died. Died getting me off-world. Died in an act of atonement and sacrifice. Like I said, I would have died had my crew not gotten the transporters operational at the last moment and beamed me away. Marcus told her. I was prepared for death, just never happened. Doesn't matter. Point is, what you did for me that day was a selfless act of compassion and sacrifice. I forgave everything you ever did to me that day and spent all these years feeling guilty that I never gave you the chance to show your sincerity. Never gave you the chance to right your wrongs. You had your reasons and they were completely understandable and justified. No, Krystal disagreed with a shake of her head. They weren't. Everyone deserves a chance to redeem themselves. Everyone. Even you. She approached him slowly. I may have hated you long ago for the things you did to me. You were a spoiled bully who used to burn my hair as a child, toyed with my telepathy, pulled mean jokes on me, but when you had your change of heart, I should have let you show it. My regret was in regards to you that I never gave you a real chance to show that other side of you. I know what troubled you. I found out from some of the others. It doesn't justify what you did to me, but I still understand why you were that way. I'm sorry, Marcus. It seems fate and destiny have given us a chance to start over. Indeed it has, and I aim to make use of it to make right what I did wrong. All I need to know is, will you let me? I'd be an idiot not to. As I said before, all these years among the stars can take a toll on a man's mind, even a Serenian tiger as I. So, friends? Krystal offered with a smile. In response, Marcus pulled her into a hug. Friends, he affirmed. He looked at the doorway of the bridge entrance. Saw a big black panther standing there. Be careful of that panther, he thought to Krystal. He seems to have an inappropriate and unusual interest in you. Huh. I know, Krystal responded. Don't worry, I have no interest in him. Okay. She released Marcus and left the bridge, walking past Panther without even addressing him as he, Wolf, and Leon walked onto the bridge. I see you were making friends with Krystal, Panther commented. Guess that's his name. Krystal and I knew each other before, Marcus told him, and we're both happy to see each other again. Regardless, were you able to get Corneria's location from the hair? Wolf asked. Indeed, Marcus affirmed. Trip will take a few weeks, during which I expect you to not interfere with the work of my crew, and to not cause any incidents with the Star Fox team, or you'll be finding yourself another ride home. Am I clear, Mr. O'Donnell? Perfectly clear, Captain, Wolf assured him. I'll keep my boys in line, he turned to Leon. Especially you. Don't worry, boss, Leon said. I want to get home as much as you do. That also means you, Wolf looked at Panther. Keep your hands off Krystal. We'll not be getting kicked off our only ride home because you chose to flirt with her at the wrong fucking time. Got it? Loud and clear, boss, Panther said clearly. Good to see you run a tight ship among your crew, Marcus remarked. Had to ever since Pigment, Wolf stated. You can tell me at dinner, Marcus said. I want to get going. Meantime, get yourself settled into vacant crew quarters. Helm, plot a course for Coronaria's coordinates. Stand by to engage transwarp drive. As his crew got to work, Wolf and his crew left the bridge. Marcus could hear their heavy footfall. Course plotted, Captain, the droid at the helm reported. Maximum transwarp velocity will put us over Corneria in 5.2 weeks' time. Ready to engage at your command. Marcus turned his chair to face the view screen. Execute, was all he commanded. The droid complied, steering the ship out of the debris field, and the ship went to transport. Fox, Peppy, Falco, and Slippy weren't with the R-Wings when Krystal arrived to collect her gear. She grabbed it all, then went to the first unmarked room she could find. The others had marked their rooms in one way or another, and it was as she set up that she felt Fox's presence. But he didn't come in until she had herself set up and was sitting on her bed. Neither of them said anything at first, but eventually Fox was the one who broke the silence. Why didn't you ever tell me about him? He asked. I had spent all these years believing he was dead. I had little reason to speak of him. To my mind, he sacrificed himself for me. And I gather you hold him in high regard because of it? You're suggesting we bring him on the team, Fox deduced. He has a ship. He has evident connections. He's been places we haven't, Krystal suggested. He'd be valuable to us. Fox nodded in agreement. Krystal could feel his heart lighten. Indeed, you have a point there. I've never come across a vessel like this, he agreed. He paused, then added, You know him better than I. Would it be possible he knows someone on a shipyard that can get us a new ship? It's certainly possible, Krystal admitted. Even on Serenity, he had connections. It was because of those connections that he was mistreated by some. Which caused his mistreatment of you, Fox added. Krystal looked at him, surprised. How did he? Panther told me, Fox clarified for her. He overheard the conversation you and Marcus had when we left. Of course he did, Krystal grumbled. You should know up front, I have no interest in Panther. Who cares? I'm relieved to hear you say that. Even so, we're going to be dealing with them for a few weeks, so we all need to keep it together. I already spoke to the others on that point. And no, I'm not trying to jump over it. It just, quite frankly, like I said, who cares? Move on. Everybody did. I don't. I imagine Marcus made clear a similar point to Wolf and his team, she stated. He did, Fox affirmed. From the sounds of it, he doesn't trust Wolf and his team any more than we do. There was a long and comfortable pause before Fox finally asked what Krystal knew he would. Are you interested in Marcus? No. What? Who cares? I'm sorry, I don't. I don't understand. What does this have to do with anything? I don't get it. This isn't... She's the only female. Of course, they're gonna all want her because they're all the only men in... Anyway, didn't realize I dozed off, Krystal admitted. Fox motioned his head and turned to walk, and Krystal followed. They wandered the corridors until they came to the mess hall. Panther cast a flirtatious look to Krystal, but she ignored it. Now that you're all here, we can get started, Marcus said without looking away from his cooking. Maybe start with how you were conveniently in the area to pick us up when we needed it, Wolf suggested. Was curious about that myself, Panther commented. I was just passing by when the shockwave from that explosion pulled the striker out of the transport. I was curious and investigated the area where I came upon all of you. Wolf explained the events of the Aparoid War, Fox, so I won't ask you to tell me what happened there. Honestly, I'm just glad someone was kind enough to give us a ride home, Fox said. I guess we were lucky the explosion of the Aparoid homeworld was strong enough to pull you from what'd you call it? Transwarp, Marcus chuckled. Much faster than standard warp drives. I'm guessing a transwarp drive is hard to come by, Slippy surmised. Not hard to come by, impossible, Marcus corrected him. Only galactic power that was able to make transwarp drives is the Borg, and they're not known for sharing. I had to steal my transwarp coils from them, which was extraordinarily difficult. Clearly, you managed it, Leon said. Clearly, Marcus affirmed. I was able to keep myself from being assimilated because I had nanoprobes already in my system, and they kept the Borg nanoprobes from getting me. I take it Borg assimilation is not something we want to go through, Krystal stated. Damn straight, Marcus replied. Death is a preferable alternative to being assimilated. Not pretty. Got any more of those nanoprobes? Fox inquired. Why? Does Lilac have trouble with the Borg? No, but if we encounter the Borg, it'd be useful to have some. Marcus nodded and responded, I can replicate them in sickbay. He moved the pot of stew to an inactive burner and started dishing it out. Your hospitality surprises me, Captain Tokarev, Panther stated. Are you typically this friendly, or is it because you've been reunited with Krystal that has you in such a good mood? A bit of both, Marcus admitted. I'm always willing to lend a hand to strangers in need, within reason, but I hadn't counted on ever seeing Krystal again, let alone reconciling with her. Indeed. What do you intend to do once we reach Lilac? Panther asked. Honestly, I'm not sure, Marcus answered, but given its new turf, I'm wondering if there will be anything needing doing for a man with a ship and a crew of battle droids. After the damaged Aparoids left, there's a lot that'll need doing. Plenty of opportunity there, if that's what you're implying, Peppy said. More or less, Marcus affirmed. I guess I'll start with offering security and go from there. You could probably do more than that, Marcus, Krystal suggested. The Cornerian fleet would be stretched too thin after the Aparoids. You could help us run supplies, help protect convoys. Marcus nodded thoughtfully as he downed some of his stew. Indeed I could, he said. He downed another bite. I've protected convoys before. I'm wondering, Captain Tokarev, Fox started, correcting himself for reasons Krystal wasn't quite clear on. Do you have a fighter craft of your own, or do you operate from a striker? Marcus smiled and chuckled. I'm not surprised you didn't see it in the shuttle bay. Your R wings landed directly underneath it. So you do have one, Krystal said. What kind? I wouldn't expect you to recognize the name, but it's a TIE Defender, Marcus said. TIE Defender? Fox repeated. Why is it called that? Because TIE is an acronym, stands for Twin Ion Engine. The TIE Defender is a fighter bomber that can take on many different targets. A powerful asset, and I've made a lot of special modifications, Marcus explained. Armed with a missile materializer system built into a warhead launcher, laser cannons, ion cannons, and even refit the shield system with the same reverse-engineered Borg shield tech like Stryker has. Sounds like you've been busy, Krystal commented. I haven't spent all these years doing nothing, Krystal, Marcus told her. What about the Stryker? Slippy queried. What kind of ship is it? I've never seen its like before. Of course you haven't. It's a Klingon design, Marcus clarified. The Stryker is heavily modified Nord-class bird of prey. This one is slightly larger than the Covert-class bird of prey and carries a ton of firepower. Klingon forces use the bird of prey vessels as scouts and raiders or pack hunters. But I'm guessing yours has a number of non-standard upgrades, Slippy guessed. Marcus nodded in affirmation. That's right, like the V1 battle droids that make up the crew. Picked those up from a depot on Lego. Took a good few weeks to get them to function as I wanted, Marcus explained. Must have used a batch conversion program to get them all done once you had the programming right, Slippy said. Marcus chuckled. You catch on fast, he complimented. There was a slight shudder of the ship and a sense of slowing velocity, and the hull reverberated with the sound of slowing speed. That's not good, Marcus said. Yellow alert, came the droid voice over the intercom. Captain Tokarev to the bridge. You lot better come with, Marcus suggested. I got a feeling we didn't come out of transwarp by accident. The entire party got up and followed Marcus towards the bridge. Folks, my apologies about that last part. The whole need to consistently, I'm not interested in him, her. I honestly, none of this stuff was really needed at all, because again, she's literally the only female in a room full of men. Kind of explaining the reason why there was no females in the whole thing. She's literally the only female, so of course all the men are going to be interested in her. And they're all different species. You got a lion, a panther, and a fox. The only one that's actually straight to be actually with her is I don't know, it just seems out of place is all I'm saying here. I just wanted to go back to the actual, space stuff. This whole love thing is unneeded. Again, my apologies. That was just kind of my feeling on it. And if you don't agree with me, the story is in the actual archive of your own. I have linked it, so feel free to read it for yourself. You know, but me, I skipped over that part because it seemed like it was really redundant. That's all. But otherwise, you didn't miss much because, again, just repeated everybody's not interested in everybody, but everybody's interested in her. So get that. All right. Hopefully, we can move on, and that'll just be spaceship. That'd be cool. Star Fox and Star Wolf. It's chapter 2. Star Fox and Star Wolf. Actually, chapter 3. Star Fox and Star Wolf all assembled on the bridge with Marcus, who sat down immediately in the captain's chair. Report, he commanded. We've been pulled out of transwarp speed by a Vertonian particle field, the droid at the helm reported. Source? Marcus asked. Source appears to be a starship bearing 035 Mark II, reported the droid at Ops. Visual, Marcus ordered. The view screen lit up, and displayed on screen was an arrow-shaped vessel with apparent spheres embedded in the ship's hull. It had a pentagon-shaped command pod over a dorsal aft surface and had a gray-white color to its hull. Surrounding it was a field of debris. What kind of ship is that? Panther asked aloud. Beats me, Slippy responded. I've been lost on just this bird of prey. Marcus, do you recognize that vessel? Krystal asked Marcus. Marcus nodded. I do, he affirmed, and that's what gets me. It's an immobilizer, 418 interdictor cruiser. It's a ship designed to prevent ships from fleeing to hyperspace and can pull ships already in hyperspace out of it. But you said the ship travels via transwarp, Slippy reminded him. It does, and that's another thing I find strange. Imperial indictors aren't typically equipped or designed to generate a Verteron particle field, Marcus explained. That ship shouldn't be able to pull us from transwarp. This is damn peculiar, Fox mused. Is there any reason any of those would be here? Hell no, Marcus responded. Imperial Alliance surface nowhere near this area. So why would an interdictor cruiser be modified to generate a Vertonian particle field all the way out here? Fox mused. Well, unless that ship's systems were malfunctioning, they could be generating that field as a trap for some other vessel, Leon suggested. Marcus rubbed his chin in thought, then spoke. Ops, what is the status of that vessel? Sensors indicate the cruiser's weapons and shields are offline. Engines have been completely destroyed. Life support is functional, reported the droid at Ops. Are there any life signs on board? Marcus asked. Sensors do not detect any life signs on board, Captain, the droid replied. Krystal, can you sense anything over there? Marcus asked Krystal. Krystal shook her head. No, that ship feels quiet. I can't discern any thoughts from anyone over there. Does that model of ship have a hangar? Fox asked Marcus. It does, but it's not big enough for your R-Wings. It was meant for deploying the TIE fighters, Marcus answered. Is there any way we can shut that Verteron field off from here? Slippy inquired. Negative. The droid at the engineering station discounted. Computer systems on the target ship have been sealed off from remote access. Marcus grumbled in thought. No life signs. Shields offline. Marcus, are you thinking what I'm thinking? Krystal inquired. I am if you're thinking someone's going to go over there and shut that damn thing off, Marcus affirmed. How? Wolf asked. Transporters, Marcus explained. With the shields down, I could beam a team over there to shut off the Verteron field. The holes will likely be on the bridge. Sensors indicate the bridge is emitting a transporter inhibitor field, Captain. Droid at Ops reported. However, a possible beam-in point is located in one of the cargo bays. How close is it to the bridge? Marcus queried. The droid brought up a holographic glare of the ship. The cargo bay is a moderate distance from a turbo lift that goes directly to the bridge, the droid explained. Estimate 15.3 minute time to reach it. Fox nodded. We can take care of it, he volunteered. Not alone, Fox, Krystal offered. Yeah, I'm in too, Falco chimed. And you're gonna need an engineer with you for this, Slippy added. Alright, I'll have my droids guide you to the transporter room. Just beam over, get to the bridge, and shut the Verteron field down, and whatever transporter inhibitor is on the bridge, and I'll bring you back. And then Fox, take this. He took the camera device strapped to his armor and handed it to Fox. So I can keep track of your progress. Anything goes pear-shaped over there will beam me back to try to destroy the ship. Sounds like a cakewalk, Falco remarked. Right, let's go, team, Fox said. Security team, escort Fox and his team to the transporter room, Marcus said over the intercom. Again, not to interrupt a little bit here, a lot of redundant writing. Could have just simply said that we're all going to go as a team. They're all Fox team, so you didn't need to say they're not going to go alone. At least I didn't think so. You could have just simply said the Fox team decided to go. Anyway, by the time the team had grabbed their weapons and gear and met in the transporter room, Slippy had fashioned a headset for Fox to wear with the camera Marcus gave him attached. Fox was a bit leery of Marcus's transporter tech, but at the moment, it was the only way to board the interdictor. When the transport was complete, Fox found himself in a dimly lit hall of steel bulkheads colored in gray and black. The hall seemed shaped in a horizontally wide hexagon, and the blast doors were no different. What immediately struck Fox, besides the complete lack of any life, was the complete lack of anything at all. No blood, no bodies, no signs of combat, no damage to anything. The halls of the ship were completely pristine. "Marcus, you seeing this?" Fox asked over the comlink built into the headset. "Affirmative," Marcus answered. "Keep moving. Slippy, stay alert for any functional computer ports or terminals. They may tell us what happened here." "Roger," Slippy acknowledged. Fox had his blaster drawn, and he led the team to the halls of the alien vessel. Getting out of the cargo bay was easy enough. The door was wide open. Following Marcus's instructions, the team moved through the halls until one particular area where Marcus unexpectedly came on the comlink. "Fox, stop!" he requested. Fox obeyed, wondering if Marcus had seen something he hadn't. Pan the camera left. Again, Fox obeyed and immediately saw what Marcus had spotted. "Medbay." "Medbay," Marcus said. "Maybe they have logs that'll tell us what happened." "Slippy, is that door functional?" Fox asked. "Yeah, it looks like it's sealed off on a lockdown order. I think I can override it," Slippy said. He connected the device to the door panel, tinkled with it, and lo and behold, the door opened. Inside the medbay were a number of scattered weapons and broken glass. Unlike the rest of the ship, this area had definite signs of combat, but like everywhere else, there were no bodies. 2 makeshift barricades were set up facing the doorways into the bay, and the door on the other side was open. "Fox," came Wolf's voice, "piece of advice, you might want to pick up some of those weapons. This is unknown territory for us both, and we don't know if our weapons will be effective here." "You got a point, Fox," Peppy added. "Can't hurt to get new gear." Fox looked around. There certainly wasn't any shortage of weapons lying around. When Fox looked over at Falco, he noticed he picked up a rifle-looking weapon with a small scope. "This'll do for me," he said. Looking to the others, he saw Slippy had picked up a smaller pistol-looking weapon with a white barrel, and Krystal had picked up a carbine rifle with a small scope and a fixed butt stock. Fox looked down at his feet, and there lay a carbine with a scope, but unlike Krystal's weapon, this one had a stock folded under the weapon. Fox holstered his weapon and picked it up. The weapon seemed loaded. He unfolded the stock and locked it, took aim at the ceiling. Interesting weapon. When he looked back, he saw Slippy at a computer terminal. "Well, whoever hit this ship did a darn good job. All the logs have been wiped," Slippy reported. He paused, then added, "But it did find the secure code for the turbo lift. Give me a moment to download it." Moments later, an alarm klaxon sounding like the distant cries of an underwater beast started sounding. "Slippy, what did you do?" Falco shouted over the alarm. "Must have been a dead man switch on those codes. The instant the download completed, the ship went into lockdown," Slippy explained. "Lockdown is right," Marcus said over the comlink. "That whole ship just lit up with a transporter inhibitor field. I can't beam me back until you shut it down." "Great," Fox growled. When he looked to the door, he noticed something that wasn't there before. Stepping into the doorway was an odd battle droid that looked like it had been pieced together from a scrapyard. He raised a weapon and fired at Fox, but the instant the weapon went up, Fox rolled left and the shot missed. The others immediately fired on it and it went to pieces. "Tell me you saw that, Marcus," Fox requested. "Scavengers," Marcus said. "Must have stolen this ship and rigged it to trap any vessels passing through the area. They'd be encouraged to board the ship and shut the Verderon field off, which is when the scavengers spring the trap, steal what they can get their hands on, and destroy the trapped vessels." "Which would explain the debris field," Fox surmised. "We need to do more than shut off the Verderon field. We need to destroy this ship, so no one else gets snared by it." "Agreed," Marcus agreed. "Okay. With those codes, you should be able to get to the bridge." "Yeah, see right there. Agreed," Marcus agreed. "Just say agreed," Marcus said. "With those codes, you should be able to get to the bridge. Hurry, I'm detecting multiple droid signals closing in on your position." Fox and his team abandoned caution as they headed for the turbo lift. especially now that the ramshackle droids and scrap metal combat drones started showing up every corner they turned. When they got to the turbo lift, it was, indeed, locked down. When Slippy tried the code, to his surprise, it didn't work. What the heck? I was sure this was the code. A false code, Falco growled. So now what? When Fox looked around the area, he noticed 3 skeletal corpses in a dark alcove. One of them was holding a datapad. Grabbing the datapad and looking at it, he realized it had a saved log. He tossed it to Slippy and told him, "Play that, it might help." Slippy did as he was told, and the room filled up with voices. "Almost didn't make it past that droid ambush, you Murloc Glack. You're cutting it a little close, aren't you?" "Yes, a regrettable miscalculation on our part. I'm contacting you because I'm detecting a transmission from your ship. Did you order that?" "My ship XO must have displayed orders and tried to send a general distress signal, as if anyone would be looking for trouble way out here." "Hey, Corey, this turbo lift is locked down. Try the code again and don't worry about my ship and its transmissions. By the time help arrives, we'll be the first ones to make it through your game. Oh, they won't be leaving this region. I've connected to your ship's systems through the connection tube linking my ship with yours. All I have to do is initiate self-destruct and scramble the abort codes." "What? That's going to kill the whole crew." "Not all of them, but I'm sending a number of battle droids to your location right now to correct that problem." "Corey, this turbo lift is locked down. The sequence isn't working." "Keep trying it. Why are you doing this? Why me?" It was never about you. Only what I could take from you. This entire situation, your fault. You took this route to try and bypass Raider turf, and when you were pulled out of warp, you thought you could easily get through my game. So you were wrong. Statement. You are a risk, Corey. You are impulsive, crude, and soon deceased. The sound of blaster fire came, followed by 3 bodies hitting the deck. The last voice came out one last time. Mocking query, Corey. "Corey, are you dead yet?" Smug statement. "I believe I forgot to mention that I reversed the turbolift codes you downloaded, in case you managed to get this far." "Thick thug," Falco growled. "Wish he were here. I'd put one between his eyes for sure." Falco's sentence was followed by the sound of the turbolift suddenly coming to life. "Huh, why didn't I think of that?" Slippy chuckled. "Good work, Slippy. Let's shut down both fields and hightail it out of here," Fox exclaimed. They all boarded the turbolift and rode it through the bridge, where an unexpected sight waited for them. Another droid. But this one was colored green, and was in much better condition than the droids Fox and his team had encountered. "What kind of machine is that?" Krystal asked. "That's an HK-50 assassin droid," Marcus exclaimed. "Affirmation. That is correct, prey. Statement. You are the first prey to ever get to this bridge of this trap. Regrettably, we cannot allow you to escape," the droid spoke. Before anything else could be said, Falco immediately leveled his rifle on the droid and fired. His bolt hit the droid dead center, and it staggered. Left with no other choice, Fox raised his weapon and fired, hitting near the Falco's mark. Krystal landed a shot on the droid's head, and Slippy's shot hit something on the back of the droid as it spun from Krystal's shot. The droid, sparking and hissing, dropped to the deck and didn't say anything further. "Good shooting," Marcus complimented. "Those things are always trouble. Shut down those Verderana transport inhibitor fields, and let's get back on course for Lilac." Slippy interfaced with the systems on the bridge, and while he worked, Fox was startled when the screen lowered from the ceiling. And when it went active, he saw a creature he hadn't seen before. This alien had an ape-like appearance, but was much larger than apes Fox had seen before, and he had teeth sticking out of his lower lip. So you're the ones who survived my trap. Huh. You're certainly a cut above the usual cur I tend to trap there. No matter. I rigged this trap once, I can do it again," the creature said, his voice deep and throaty. "Warning, warning, self-destruct sequence initialized. Self-destruct in T-minus 30 seconds. Familiarized voice suddenly proclaimed. "Marcus, can you do anything?" Fox asked. "Stand by, Star Fox," Marcus replied. The striker's wings lowered, and the weapons on the wing fired at a point between the interdictor's domes. The ship rocked at the explosion, and before Falco could protest, Marcus proclaimed, "Got it! Prepare for transport." Fox was greeted with a flash of light, and he found himself back in the transporter room of the striker. Fox felt a wave of relief wash over him. That was a damn close call. 30 seconds may not have been enough time for even Slippy to stop anything. It was clear to Fox that the ship had been a trap designed by an alien scavenger as both a game and a way to get loot to sell or use. And if what the alien had said was accurate, he had experienced doing this kind of thing. But Fox was glad to have gotten out of it in one piece. "Everyone okay?" Fox asked his team. "I'm good," Falco replied. "Me too," asked Slippy. "We should probably get to the bridge, see if Marcus gleaned anything useful from this event," Krystal suggested. Fox wordlessly nodded, and the team marched on to the bridge. "Not every day one survives a trap like that, Fox," Will said. Fox couldn't be sure if he was being serious or sarcastic. Indeed, Marcus said, I apologize for sending you over there. I should have destroyed that ship outright. You're only doing what you thought was right, Marcus, Krystal assured him. Agreed, Fox assured her. None of us were expecting it to turn out the way it did. It does illustrate how dangerous it is out there, though, doesn't it? Marcus inquired. I expect you're used to danger, but even so, we must all be on our guard. Is the Verderon field gone? Slippy asked. Marcus nodded. Yes, it is, and we're already underway, he answered. Hopefully we'll reach the first pit stop before too long. Now, if anybody needs me, I'll be in my quarters. Fox moved aside to allow Marcus through, but he stopped briefly before Krystal. No words were said that he heard, but he saw them both subtly nod to each other before Marcus went to the door. Hey, Captain, what should we do with these guns? Falco asked. Fox had forgotten he was still holding the blaster carbine he'd picked up on the scavenger ship, and on looking down at his, he folded the stock under the gun again. Marcus stopped just inside the open doorway that led to the neck of the ship, and then said as he looked over his shoulder at them, Keep them. God knows you're going to need them in the times ahead, and as I like to believe, you keep what you kill. He then walked away. Lucky Fox, Wolf remarked. A shame I didn't go with you over there. Wouldn't mind picking up some new guns myself. Blaster's kind of getting old. You might get your chance at the first pit stop, Wolf, Fox told him. Captain Tokarev said it'd be a trading post. Maybe so, Wolf admitted, but there's no guarantee they'll have weapons like that. True, they may have worse weapons, or they may have better. You of all people should know how trading posts are. If anybody needs me, I'll be exploring this ship, Krystal said as she turned and left. Once she was out of earshot, Panther spoke up. Am I the only one noticing she's been out of sorts this whole thing? You have to keep in mind, Panther, she's got a lot on her mind, Falco said. Yeah, she survived a war with a homicidal hive mind, seen death and destruction, and came in contact with a man she thought was dead. Not to mention she's dealing with 3 men vying for her affection. Anyway, so let's give her some space, Wolf suggested. I'll be in the holodeck. I don't know about you guys. I'm going to finish that meal that was interrupted by this event, Slippy said. Yeah, I'll go with you, Slip, Falco agreed. Same, Panther sighed. As everyone left the bridge, only Peppy and Fox were remaining. Panther raised an interesting point. Krystal seemed a bit overwhelmed by all of this, and they weren't even halfway home. And she had 3 men wanting her affections in different ways, and Fox was beginning to wonder if he should seek affection elsewhere. He wouldn't remove Krystal from the team, he would remain her friend perhaps, and this was assuming she went with Panther or Marcus, but he wanted that companionship. If not with Krystal, then who? You can't force her hand, Fox, Peppy said, picking up Fox's thoughts. In the end, the choice remains hers, and no matter who she chooses, you'll have to be willing to accept it. Except she's literally the only fucking female... I know, Fox replied softly. I think maybe when we get back to Corneria, you should look up Farah, Peppy suggested. Peppy, that op on Katina left Farah with post-traumatic vocal disarticulation, Fox said. But even she admits that it wasn't your fault, Peppy said. Regardless, I know she'll want to know you survived the Aparoids, Peppy paused. Even for Katina, Farah was a sweet girl. She understood you, Fox. And maybe she can be part of Star Fox again. Okay. Maybe, but Corneria is a long way from here. And Marcus was right, it's dangerous out here, more so than Lilat ever was. He yawned, then added, I think I'll catch some sleep. Then turned and walked to his quarters, and lay down on the bed without even getting out of his clothes. He was asleep 90 seconds later. You know, and I think right here, this kind of gives you a good indicator as to why there are no women on pirate ships, or ships in general, like why women are not generally accepted in these types of positions. Again, this is why. You literally, they're out in space, you don't have anybody else to talk to. So, of course, she's the only person that you're gonna fucking be interested in. So, this whole love scenario thing, while I understand you're wanting to do that, it doesn't make any fucking sense when there's only one female and they're gonna be out here for God knows how long. Not to mention, you don't shit where you eat. She's on the same team. So, it's generally not a good idea to go hooking up with somebody that's in the same place that you work, because you have to deal with them every day. Like, I don't know. I'm seriously going to piss off the person who wrote the story, and I do apologize. I just had to say this because it just doesn't make any fucking sense. At least not to me. And for what it's worth, again, I understand wanting to do a love triangle. Like, I get that. But it just doesn't make any sense here. Maybe later on in the story there's more because they have more places to pull from. But as it stands, like, it's like being trapped in a box. Like, yeah, you're all interested with each other because they're the only people that you ever see. So, yeah, that's a little problematic. And that they're all interested in, or you got a long way to go, bro. Y'all are gonna have some problems, okay? Just saying. Point out of the way, on to chapter 4. Krystal awoke this morning following the op on the scavenger and her feeling very hungry. For a moment she forgot she was aboard the striker and didn't recognize where she was. It all came back quickly, and satisfied, she got up, dressed, and headed out. Having explored the ship, she had the general layout down. Mess hall was just shy of the cargo bay, surrounded by some of the crew quarters where Krystal, Fox, Falco, Slippy, and Peppy all took up residence. All on which were the same deck as the neck corridor that lead to the bridge. On one deck above, accessible via ramps, ladders, or turbo lifts, was the next set of crew quarters where Wolf and his team were staying. While exploring, Krystal narrowly avoided Panther and the holodeck, a digital library archive, and an armory. The next deck up, accessible via the same methods, seemed a maintenance area for many of the B-1 battle droids on the Striker, as well as their armories and equipment rooms. It also housed another cargo bay where various supplies were kept, food and water, basic essentials, and other sundries that were typically used on a daily basis, as well as the main engineering where the warp core, supported by multiple transwarp coils, was situated. The deck above that housed another cargo bay that was converted to function as a gymnasium, as well as an astro navigation room and a holographic sparring ring. The uppermost deck on the very spine of the Striker, Krystal learned was Marcus's personal apartment. Knowing all this helped Krystal become comfortable with the ship, so when she awoke, once she remembered where she was, she marched into the mess hall only to just see Marcus there, eating some scrambled eggs as he read from a datapad. He noticed Krystal there when he looked up and smiled. He set his fork down and hitched a thumb over towards the stove. "There's still some scrambled egg left, if you're hungry," he told her. "Famished, actually," Krystal replied. "Thank you." She went to the stove, and Marcus returned his attention to the datapad. He got some scrambled eggs, which also had shredded potatoes, peppers, and onions in the mix, and sat down next to Marcus. "Where's everyone else?" "They're running mock simulations on the holodeck," Marcus responded. "Fox and Panther both seemed to think you were feeling overwhelmed by everything that's been going on, so they agreed to let you sleep." That was kind of them, Krystal thought. "I'm surprised Peppy agreed to such a thing," she remarked. "Oh yeah, Peppy's the only one other than you that didn't go to the holodeck. He's on the bridge," Marcus responded. Brent swore up and down he'd be good for that. "Give me a break." Marcus set a datapad down and leaned back in his chair. Fox seemed like a good fellow, loyal and kind, and he apparently knows about how sordid their history was. "Well, Fox is not one to judge someone by who they were in the past," Krystal said with a smile, downing a bite of her eggs. "I noticed," Marcus answered, "but I sensed he was something in store for me when we hit Lilac." "I'm not sure I should say," Krystal chuckled, "but given our recent reconciliation, I feel you and I need to be open and honest with each other." She downed another bite of her eggs, then added, "Fox and I were discussing expanding Team Star Fox, and since you have a ship, she let the thought hang in the air." "It's not just a ship I have," Marcus chuckled. "I have other connections. I've been all over the galaxy and gotten to know a number of people." He interlaced his fingers and rested his hands on his abdomen. "Where'd you meet Fox, anyway?" Krystal laughed lightly. With the war against the Aparoids, she had forgotten about the plight of Soria that had brought her and Fox together, if only for her to become a part of Star Fox. "We met during the plight of Soria," she explained. "Andros was trying to influence events there, and Fox and his team had been commissioned to help tribes there. Then there was a war with the Aparoids. So much was lost then. So many noble sacrifices, and we don't even know how bad the damage is in the aftermath. We won't until we reach Lilac. Yeah, and I am sorry you had to fight in a war. War. It takes its toll on everyone, but its horrors should never be seen by those forced to fight in it," Marcus said. "I wasn't forced. I knew what I had to do. I had to fight to protect Saria and those that I..." Krystal stopped mid-sentence as she noticed Marcus had moisture beneath his closed eyes. "You weren't talking about me when you referenced those forced to fight in war, were you?" she asked. "No," Marcus whispered. War isn't always so cut and dried. There are times you don't even know who your enemy is, and there are times that you're outnumbered, outgunned, and outclassed by a vast margin, and you feel like there's no hope of victory. He sighed, then spoke clearer. I've been a mercenary for hire for years, been across combat theaters everywhere. Corsicant, Vergesso, New Romulus, Kronos, after the Iconian War. I just wanted to settle down. Went to a world called Circinus 4. For a while it was good, but then he stopped unexpectedly. He visibly shuddered. Krystal was immediately concerned, and she put a hand on his joined hands. What happened? She asked him softly. Marcus sighed tremblingly. Let's just say I saw the Covenant before I knew this Sanghaili, Marcus said, before he abruptly got up and left. He'd no more than left the mess hall when the others entered. Fox had been looking where Marcus had gone, and indicating him, asked, You all right? I fear I may have reminded him of something he wanted to forget, Krystal admitted. What's that? Panther asked. I don't know, Krystal said. I mentioned a world called Circinus 4, but it didn't say what happened there, just something about seeing the Covenant before he knew the Sanghaili. Avoiding discussing the topic. Could be whatever happened there left him with some degree of PTSD. How do you know? Fox asked. I've known people who had it, Wolf explained. From the sounds of it, he wants to tell you. He's just holding back for whatever reason. I should apologize to him, Krystal said as she rose from her seat. I never meant to hurt him that way. No, Krystal, wait, Panther responded as she stood in her way. If what Wolf is saying is accurate, the best thing you can do right now is give him space. Don't force the issue, let him calm down. Hate to admit it, Panther actually has a point, Buck reported. A guy gets upset, whether sad or angry or both, you should give him space. I guess he'll tell you when he's ready. He paused and steadily nodded. Wolf, didn't Marcus say the archives were open to us? Leon asked. Couldn't we determine what happened on Circinus 4 from there? Good thought, but I doubt Marcus would keep his account of what happened to him on Circinus 4 in that archive, Wolf discounted. No, but that does give me an idea. We should familiarize ourselves with everything in those archives so we know what we're getting into, Fox suggested. A good point, Pup, Wolf agreed. They all, Krystal included, went to the archive and started sorting through the various records and documents on the computers there. Krystal learned a great deal about the things Marcus had told her and the others in the short time they'd been with him, and a great deal more about the history and events in many places. But one thing bothered her. No matter how much she tried, she couldn't get Marcus had said that he saw the Covenant before he knew the Sanghaili out of her head. Out of sheer curiosity, she looked up archive entries on this Covenant and learned that it wasn't a document, as she originally thought, but a wholly alien empire of several species united by a reverence to the Forerunners. She learned that the Sanghaili were an upper echelon of the Covenant, a proud warrior race that often commanded strikingly advanced ships. She read everything she could on the Covenant and had no idea how long she'd been reading. But then something gnawed at her mind. Marcus had referenced a world called Circinus 4. She looked it up in the archives and learned it was a UNSC colony, site of a military academy. Given Marcus's background then, she could see why he'd settle on a world like that. But what happened there? She was about to delve into its fate when she felt a tremendous telepathic shockwave and could swear she heard Marcus scream. She bolted up and ran all the way to Marcus's quarters, fearing something terrible had happened. But when she got inside, she saw Marcus standing before a viewport, his hands clasped behind his back, his eyes closed. He shook violently and was about to approach him when she remembered Panther's words. The best thing you can do for him right now is give him space. Let him calm down. He'll tell you when he's ready. Krystal was about to turn and leave when she heard Marcus speak to her. Please, don't go, he pleaded. After a pause, he added, Feeling your presence is soothing. I didn't want to force myself on you, Marcus, Krystal said, but I do want to apologize for causing this. What makes you think it's your fault? Marcus asked. Does it remind you of something you wanted to forget? There's a lot I want to forget, Krystal, Marcus said weakly. You don't see the things I've seen and emerge unscathed. You're right, though. We need to be open and honest with each other. Just don't expect it to be easy for me. She approached him, and then she didn't turn to face her. She embraced him from behind, resting her muzzle on his right shoulder. You had a nightmare of what happened on Circinus 4, didn't you? She asked. Yes, Marcus quietly affirmed. What happened? Krystal whispered. The Covenant happened, Marcus responded, keeping his voice low. They were on a crusade to exterminate the UNSC. I didn't know much about them then, but they came at night. I remember waking up to the sound of a planet-wide alert klaxon, being herded with the humans to the orbital tether. But I never got to ascend it. Covenant ships knocked it out and everyone ran. Screams, dust, smoke, debris, and combat. I saw with my own eyes the slaughter the Covenant were capable of. Something I wish I could forget. I never knew if everyone survived. I didn't get the chance. The Covenant were glassing the place, and I had to get off world fast. I got to the striker and left. And I remind you of when Serenia burned, Krystal surmised. Yes, Marcus affirmed. So many lives lost that night. I'm so sorry, Marcus, Krystal apologized. I had no idea you'd been through such a thing. There's no way for you to know, Marcus told her. I don't often talk of my past. Being on a ship full of droids doesn't exactly help. Marcus, if you ever need someone to talk to, I'm open to you, Krystal offered. If you ever need a shoulder to cry on, you can cry on mine. He's a guy. He's not going to do that. Marcus smiled, then opened his eyes to let a few tears fall, and of course, I was a fool to treat you so poorly when we were children. You were such a kind person. Again? After all these years, is it meaningless to apologize? After 15 times, I should hope so. I'm sorry, Krystal, Marcus apologized. I'm so sorry it took all this for me to realize how much of a good person you are. I forgave you a long time ago, Marcus, and really, I'm glad to have bumped into you again, Krystal told him. She put a hand on his bare furred chest, right over his heart. You're strong, Marcus. You survived Serenia. You survived countless battles, and you found it in your heart to help us get home. While I will have a place for you, she patted Marcus's chest. Trust me. Marcus nodded. You should probably get some sleep, he said to her. We'll be hitting the trading post tomorrow afternoon. Pause, and added, but thank you for this. It's been a long time since someone was this kind to me. Krystal squeezed Marcus gently for a few moments and released him and went back to her quarters. Her heart feeling much lighter, knowing she did something for Marcus. For once. Okay, it has me going for chapter 5, but I'm going to stop here at chapter 4 because we're already running an hour long. Again, I apologize on that. There's a lot of redundancy here. Again, the author wanted me to actually be critical, I'm hoping. For one, Krystal is very feminine in a place where she shouldn't be. Are we equal? Because if we have equality, then that's what equality means. She gets treated just like the rest of the boys. And as far as it goes, you got 3 men that are essentially kowtowing to every whim that she has. Like, oh, she went through a war. They all went through the same shit she did. She's equal. The other story that I wrote, the crew story, she's more along the lines of how I would expect her to act in this scenario, primarily because, you know, she's a member of their team, not some female that they're all looking to hook up with. At least that would be my perception of it. But yet she still talks like, you know, she's adding people to a team that she's not the leader of, for one. For two, Kara, I don't know where Kara, I'm guessing this was a fanfic thing. I've played the games. I don't ever remember there being a Kara in the game. So that's, but I haven't played the newer ones, like, after the Assault on Corneria and all that stuff. I haven't played any of that, so that may be in there. I don't know. The last one I played was on the GameCube, and it was the one with the dinosaurs that everybody hates. Which I honestly kind of liked it because it was like Zelda, but I digress. Ideally though, there's a lot of they've forgiven each other like 8 times. That really just they forgave each other once. That was enough. Their backstory was told like 3 times. Again, just I'm still going to continue reading. We're going to go, the next episode will continue from chapter 5, and then I'll do it in 4 chapter increments because this is running longer than I expected. And they're also labeled oddly on the chapters, so like chapter 5 is chapter 4 in the story. But you can always feel free to go on. Like I said, I have this linked to the site. He has more. They have more than just this story. This is just the first out of this series I'm gathering. This is the one it was recommended to start with. And the writing isn't bad. I'm not saying it is by any means. At least it explains what's going on. There, like there's a little too much setup. There's a little too much Stephen King going on here, where you got this aspect of you're going to tell me that he has a coffee cup, and now you're going to spend an entire fucking chapter explaining why this coffee cup matters. Like the whole trap thing. That was cool, allowing to get into some action there. But what the hell did that have to do with anything? They literally got on a ship, they shut off the field, and then escaped from the ship. Nothing happened there. At least nothing that seemed to have any kind of tangential carryover, like the data port or something had information that's going to lead us to stuff that's going to call back later on in other chapters where we're like, oh, that was what that meant, or something like that. Maybe that's the case. I haven't gotten that far yet, but these stories, I read them as like the reason this is new to me. I do not read these ahead of time, and that's intentional. I want it to be as realistic for the listener as it is for me. If I read it ahead of time, I feel like there's something lost there. I do gather some summary of the story ahead of time, but beyond that, the actual story itself, you get the story as I read it, as I'm getting it for the first time. So, hopefully you like that, and my ranting wasn't annoying as shit to you. I actually do have an outro here. That's the end of episode 1. Fox and his team are aboard the Striker, heading home, or trying to. Marcus has a contact who may be in serious trouble, which we'll find out about in chapter 5. I think so. And Krystal is beginning to understand that the man who rescued them has a past that goes much deeper than anyone knew. Episode 2 picks up with chapter 5, not chapter 6. The contact's name is Remus. Whether they find him in time is another question entirely. Again, you will find out more of that in the next episode. This has been Star Fox Shards of the Past, episode 1, written by InsurrectionAlpha, who's seriously probably going to be pissed, read by SL tonight. You can find the original story at Archive of Our Own, links in the description. Wild Worlds. Hopefully I'll see you next time. Good night.